Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. All right, shall we move on to the tweets?
Sure, why not?
Okay, we are starting with the Babylon Bee, which one of their joke headlines was, "Wow, what a terrible year," say people living at the absolute peak of human civilization.
You know, it's funny. We can say that we're at the peak of human civilization technologically, or peak of human civilization insofar as food scarcity is less of a thing for most households than it used to be. But we can still be in a situation that we can recognize is objectively not okay and not good.
For the first time in, as far as I know, human history, women born today will have fewer rights than their preceding generations.
Mm-hmm.
That has never happened before in human history. So, like, yeah, we might be at the peak, but if it's the peak, that means we're headed down.
There's only downhill from here.
So let's try and get it back up. Stoff says human civilization can peak at D's nuts.
Jesus Christ.
Were you on Cirrus's stream where I tried making the mind goblin joke, but everybody already knew it?
To a group of nerds who've all made that joke to each other, and there is a specific strategy in Magic the Gathering, in Legacy, called the Mind Goblin.
I forget who it was, but one of your friends actually like humored me.
Yeah, it was Noah.
Yeah, Noah gave me the requisite. Like, no, I haven't heard of the Mind Goblin.
So, fun fact: there's a mechanic in the Unfinity set called stickers. It's a joke set
that Mind Goblin is.
God damn it! No,
Mind Goblin.
Don't do this.
These nuts. She's just shaking her head at me,
as she should. So. There's a sticker mechanic in the Unfinity set where certain cards will have blanks on their names, and you have to physically grab a sticker from a randomized pack and put that sticker on your card, and you'll get an effect based on like how many vowels are in the card. It's a joke set, and most of the cards aren't legal anywhere in Magic the Gathering. It's just there for giggles. So shitty, weird mechanics like that are everywhere. Okay. But one of those cards was legal in one of the most expensive formats in Magic called Legacy, and it was called Blank Goblin. And one of the stickers was mind. It was just the word mind. Just because there were lots of cards that it could be used as an adjective for that would be perfectly fine. But everybody in Legacy just went, wouldn't it be funny if we just made one of the strongest decks in the format Mind Goblin? And yeah, then that card became such a fucking powerhouse, and I refuse to believe it was for any other reason than people just looking at the meme going, you know, what if we spent hundreds of hours of human labor time just figuring out how to break the Mind Goblin in Magic the Gathering? Wouldn't that be funny?
Diehard Anime Otaku says the goblins will face the wrath of Sugandis.
Of the Sugandis? What are the Sugandis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I believe that joke actually got made right afterwards in that exact stream too.
Yeah. I don't remember that, but I'm sure it did.
Yeah, it was my friend Fleur who just right afterwards did that. I think it's because there's a D&D channel that we all watch where one of the characters was, I think it was that a Fae basically took away the ability for them to make D's nuts jokes. And they tried. They said the Sugandis thing, and then they couldn't get the next part out, and their character just started fucking crying.
Okay. Anyway, my point with the Babylon Bee is that, like, yeah, I have actually made this point in my videos where this is actually, historically speaking, this is one of the best times to be alive. Like, poverty-wise, it's at an all-time low. People who die in war is at an all-time low, even including things like the conflict in Ukraine. I don't know if the numbers are recent enough to include Israel and Gaza, but yeah, generally speaking, this is the best time to be alive. But like, it's not going to stay that way if we don't work to make it stay that way. Like,
Yep.
if you vote for people who are going to actively make it worse, then it is going to get worse. And that's just like, there's really no way around that. So,
Things being good right now or better than they have been doesn't mean they are good.
it
You're
also
having
doesn't
a
mean it's guaranteed to stay that way.
yep. Like you're having a better day if you had a cyst removed from you right now that was growing and festering and all that shit. But if you're in recovery, you still have a giant open wound that needs to be dealt with. That needs to be sutured up still. A doctor can't just look at you and say, well, you're better than you were. Stop complaining.
Mm-hmm.
There's still an open fucking wound, my guy. You're
Mm-hmm.
only halfway done fixing the problem.
Yep. There's also like, yeah, technically speaking, people living in poverty today do have it better than royalty of several hundred years ago. But like, royalty of 700 years ago could have died from a cut because they didn't know what bacteria were. They would stub their toe, have it turn black, and then go to the shaman instead of a doctor. And a doctor then wouldn't really know much better.
And then they would die of appendicitis because cutting
Sure.
somebody open was a faux pas.
Sure.
But no, that shit
No,
happened to royalty all the fucking time.
yeah, no, I was more going for the like stubbing your toe could be a death sentence thing with everybody telling me to go to the doctor from earlier, but
It's way funnier when your friend dies. I know.
I'm gonna die just for the meme, damn it.
Yep. He really committed to the bit. You have to give it to him.
This was another thing that showed up a lot when I logged into Twitter. Was apparently there was some content creator who got bitten by a rattlesnake in Florida. That the reaction to it being bitten by a diamondback was like, "Oh man, I'm cooked now. The meme's gonna be amazing."
Did he actually die?
I don't know. I didn't. I
I
was
feel like
not.
we're brain poisoned as
I
a
was. I was enough
society.
of like. I saw that and I was like, I don't want to know anything else about this person's life. I will not investigate that. Goodbye.
I feel like we've definitely not peaked as a society if the first thought you have when you're dying is, oh my god, the memes are going to be epic.
Chat, can I get a kiss?
Kiss of a rattlesnake.
Did they just say what I think they said?
We did, yes.
Did he just say
Yeah, he did say
Oh my fark, why?
Okay. Next tweet. Braxton Hunter says, reading atheist comments reacting to fine tuning really builds my faith. Like, well, you know what? Watching you respond to a 45-minute video of mine by playing a grand total of 5 minutes of my video and then not responding to most of the points I made in that video really builds my lack of faith. Because that's a thing that Braxton did to me.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's the only interaction we've had. I wouldn't even really call that an interaction because like he didn't contact me about it or anything. I just stumbled upon it. I was like, oh, Braxton responded to me. Let's see what he said. Oh, he didn't respond to most of what I said. Okay.
I'm not even a little bit surprised.
Yeah, it's Braxton.
My only experience with Braxton Hunter has been anytime I've looked at anything on his channel, it just sounds like a person who is so thoroughly entranced by the sound of their own voice.
If anyone sniffs their own farts from a champagne glass, it is Braxton Hunter.
Like, I find Cameron to be more tolerable.
Funnily enough, I just commented on Cameron and like it's superficial as fuck and it does not fucking matter. But like I found his house on Google Maps. I'm not going to say where it is, but it's not hard to find. And the Google Street View shows him mowing the lawn topless. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that tracks. Cameron seems like the kind of guy who would mow his lawn topless. Okay, fine. He's also the kind of guy who wears a backwards baseball cap unironically. I say as I have my head in a flower hat.
That also feels like So you wear a backwards hat though when you want to look cool and you're super insecure.
Okay, but have
You
you
wear
seen?
a flower hat when you're secure enough to know that you can be the butt of a joke.
Have you? Yeah, I'm the butt of so many jokes. I'm really good at being a butt. Have you seen what he looks like in his most recent video?
Cameron? No,
Yes.
I try to avoid most of Cameron's content.
So he converted to Catholicism not long ago, and then he backtracked that conversion when it stopped making him money. Yeah, Sakura says the bud of a joke. There you go. I see what you did there. So he backtracked his conversion when it turned out to not be as profitable as he thought it would be. So now, like, officially, he is not telling people what denomination he is, but he's very clearly still a Catholic, from what he says. And he also now has facial hair that, like, when I look at that, I'm like, are you trying to look like a pedophile? Like, the fact that you went Catholic and then grew that facial hair is like, buddy, no. No. Like, I don't care. You can have stupid facial hair if you want. There's a picture of me that you can find not too hard of, like, where my beard grew out really, really nasty, and I trimmed, like, just my chin, and then, like, did a fake cigar or whatever, and so I look like a hillbilly with, like, the mustache that goes into the sideburns thing. So, like, I'm not saying that, like, facial hair can't be done for fun, but, like, come on. Wait, you wear that hat unironically right now? No, this is my unironic. My head is in the genitalia of a plant hat.
I love when my head's in the genitalia of a plant.
And Otaku Senpai
It's my
says Rhino
favorite.
admits to being a bottom.
Only sometimes.
Can't say that I've ever been a bottom. I'm not against being a bottom. I would be a switch, I think.
Now we know that he doesn't eat the ass like groceries because you are what you eat.
No, I could be a switch. I don't think I would be one or the other in particular, because, like, variety is the spice of life. Sometimes I want a top, sometimes I want a bottom. And there's
Sometimes
a kid
I want her
that is
top,
getting
sometimes
water.
I want her bottom.
That was a great time for a kid to show up to get watered. Thank you, child who's supposed to be in bed. Whatever. If they traumatize themselves by showing up when they're supposed to be absent because they know I'm streaming, that's their own damn fault.
Jesus.
Which child is being asked? I suspect it is my oldest. No? It is the middle one? Oh, so the middle one's probably not even listening. Yeah, no, that one doesn't listen to anything that I say. Ever. Right? Ridley? Yep, that's right. Yep. Just like, yeah, you talking to me? What? Teenagers, am I right?
Don't have one yet.
Senshini reported to Twitch that I am giving head to a plant.
Good.
I am giving head to a plant right now. Good night. Okay, next up, Ryan Allen says, so this is kind of what I was getting at with the news item. A Tesla Cybertruck in flames in front of Trump Tower, Vegas. You couldn't script a better metaphor. A fire-prone status symbol of excess parked outside the shrine to grift and failed promises. It's almost poetic. Maybe it's just the batteries combusting, or maybe the universe has a sense of humor. Either way, it's not the deep state. It's just karma enjoying the show. Like, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say because we already talked about the article.
And it's just perfect. Like, it's a perfect metaphor for what is happening in the States. And the fact that that it turned out it was fireworks blowing up. It's like, picture the hillbilly with his giant fireworks being like, yeah, I'm gonna blow off a hand with this one. Like, yep, nope.
You deserve everything that happens to you now.
It's amazing. Okay. Darwin to Jesus says, when Christians say homosexuality is against nature, we don't mean animals don't do it, therefore bad. We don't base morality on animal behavior. We're not atheists. As if atheists base morality on animal behavior. Instead, we look to God, who created human nature in his image. Homosexuality perverts that nature, which is why God, in his wisdom, forbids it. He seems to have missed the argument on his own side here, because when we respond to the the claim that homosexuality is unnatural by pointing out that animals do it, it's because you're saying it's unnatural, not because you're saying God designed our nature
Yeah,
to not do
he
that.
he's moving the goalpost on the "it's not natural"
Yeah.
argument. Like
Yeah,
nobody
like
says it's against nature, so therefore it's against human nature. Because if it was against we do not base Christian morality off of human nature, Darwin to Jesus, unless you forgot your own theology.
yep. Yeah. It's like no, when we point to animals, we're not saying that homosexuality is okay because animals do it. We're saying that you just said it's unnatural, and no, you are clearly wrong because here in the natural world, every species of mammal does it. So like it's clearly not unnatural. If you want to say it's against human nature, say that. And then we can respond to that. But as long as you say it's unnatural, we will then respond with, hey, here's a thing that happens in the natural world. So you're wrong?
Yep.
And what's great was that this comment section was filled with people being like, yeah, no, a lot of animals eat their own babies, but we don't say that's okay. It's like, yeah, well, we don't have Christians arguing that eating your babies is wrong because animals don't do it. If they did, then we'd be like, well, actually, animals do it, but it's still wrong. Because we're not basing our morality on what the animals do. We're responding to the claim that homosexuality is unnatural by pointing out that it happens naturally.
Yeah, when you try to say that something doesn't happen naturally, we're going to call that out as being wrong because we see it happen
Yeah.
naturally all the time. And we see it happen naturally between humans all the time.
Yeah, but like if you want to get into the morality of it, I don't say that homosexuality is fine because animals do it. I say homosexuality is fine because all of our scientific research thus far says that being bigoted against homosexual people is bad for everyone. So, from a metric of decreasing harm and increasing well-being, being accepting of LGBTQ people is the moral thing to do because I want to increase well-being. So it doesn't matter what the animals do for that. That is exclusively a response to you guys saying it's unnatural.
What is it here? Black Rose PC says, if God created everything, then he created LGBT plus people. Yes, exactly. If he created everything, then that includes gay unicorn Gary.
It does include gay unicorn Gary, whose merch you can buy now at merch.vicerhino.com. Buy the holy merch of gay unicorn Gary. Praise be upon him. People keep comparing him to Lisa the rainbow giraffe, leaf be upon her, or whatever, which is hilarious because I didn't even know that Lisa existed until after I came up with gay unicorn Gary.
Well,
and so people keep asking me like, oh, did you base gay unicorn Gary on that? And like, no, I didn't know that was a thing. I've still been like trying to find where that came from, and I know there's one particular channel that has merch from it, but like there's no clear link to like this is the first video that it showed up in, so like I don't know, sure, whatever. I don't know the lore. So yeah, gay unicorn Gary is my own original creation. However, apparently there's a fictional book series that has a gay unicorn character who is named Gary. So I just found that out by reading the comments a couple days ago, and
you always
yeah,
knew that Lisa existed in your heart.
Sure. Just like you want to have a gay orgy, like gay unicorn Gary has put in your heart.
He's put more than things in your heart.
No, Skeptic. It's Skeptic that is Lisa the rainbow giraffe. Yeah. So yeah, homosexuality is fun. Do the homosexual thing. You gonna share those ice cream sandwiches with me? No? Is that the last one? One more? Okay, I call dibs on that one. Chat, don't let her steal my ice cream sandwich. There's only one left. It's mine. Anyway.
It's Spectacular says, Sai10 says that you're denying Lisa in your unrighteousness. Also, what was that book you just put on screen?
Did I put a book on screen?
Okay.
Okay. So this I talked about yesterday, but I kept it in this for today because it's just too delightful. Elon Musk, the guy who curated the most toxic platform in existence, is begging people to post positive, beautiful, and informative content on his platform because he realizes that nobody wants to be there to see, like, oh, I'm just scrolling and I saw a person die. I don't like that, so I'm not going to open that app anymore.
Like,
And
Elon, you made this the way it is now. This was you.
yep,
You could.
he's reaping what he sowed. Clueless Expert says Gay Unicorn Gary is one of the fake religions that were unknowingly inspired by the way Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe was written in your heart. Sure, why not?
Elon, please post. Nah, it's mostly bots now.
Yeah, but I mean the bots do what he says. He spent the day after doing this like retweeting people's like puppy pictures and whatnot. So like he's trying. But then he went back to retweeting
them and then say interesting.
Then no, he was just retweeting them. But then he went back to retweeting like Ian Miles Chung and whatnot. So
of course,
yeah, no, he curated a negative platform and is now upset that it's a negative platform.
What does he expect to happen, though?
I don't know.
It's
he got what he paid for. Oh god damn it! I just took my hat off. Okay. For Big Blue.
Oh.
Yeah. My big floppy knitted hat. Big Scrooge vibes here. Liz Chris says for 100 bits says praise be to all the gay unicorns.
Thank you for the hydrate, by the way, Silver Dragon Sorcerer.
Okay. And now we got Eric Hoven. This is the book.
There's the book.
There's the book. Eric Hoven. So this is I want to thank you for the hydrate, Jassa. We can take this point by point. It's not going to take long. But this is a multi-part tweet. The replies aren't from Eric, but I wanted to get to the replies, and so we needed context. So if there had been a global flood, there would be evidence all over the world. You're absolutely right, and there is evidence all over the world. So he retweeted Lilith Atheist post where she basically said, if there had been a global flood, there would be evidence all over the world, but there isn't any.
Mm-hmm.
So fine, but he's saying there is evidence all over the world. So some examples: fossil graveyards, massive fossil beds containing millions of organisms buried rapidly in sediment found on every continent. How do you explain marine fossils on mountain ranges like the Himalayas? Okay, that's two separate things. One, sometimes there are events that kill a lot of things in one thing and bury it in sediment simultaneously. Things like mudslides, volcanic eruptions, yes, even floods, but not global floods like local floods. A local flood will kill lots of things in one event. And how do you explain marine fossils on mountain ranges like the Himalayas? Plate tectonics. That's a thing that Da Vinci explained back in the 1400s. Like, before plate tectonics were developed as a theory, Da Vinci looked at the fucking clams on the mountains and was like, hey, these guys, like, it's not a bunch of broken shells, it's a bunch of clams that look like they were just going about their normal business. So maybe the mountains used to be at the seafloor. And, like, he didn't know about plate tectonics. Plate tectonics didn't get developed for another, like, 700 years, but he still had the right answer, which is astounding when you think about it. And global sedimentary layers, vast sedimentary rock layers like the Grand Canyon that stretch across continents and show signs of being deposited by water rapidly and catastrophically. There are layers in the Grand Canyon that are aeolian deposition, which is dry, arid desert environments. I don't know how that would happen in a worldwide flood.
I don't either.
There's also
I'm also not an expert, so
also
I just know that Eric Hoven's worse.
Yeah, but if you look at the layers in the Grand Canyon, like every single layer is an ecosystem that shows evidence of animals and plants going about their daily lives as per normal and being buried in different types of events. So, like, yeah, no, they're all like very obviously separated. So like the ecosystems don't run into each other. They're not mixed. They're very distinct from one another.
Mhm.
So how would that happen if it was one single event, worldwide flood? Stuff saying Navi. Yeah, that's my ringtone when my partner texts me. She just sent me an Instagram reel that I'm sure I'll have to look at later. But yeah, so there are so many different ecosystems that are very distinct from each other that if it was all deposited in one event would not be distinct from each other. So yeah, that proves the flood wrong. Marine fossils on land. Fossilized marine life is found
God
on mountains and
fucking
plateaus
damn
above
it.
the sea. Like that's the same as the marine fossils on the Himalayas. Like no, like it
And
wasn't
then
always
Liska
land.
And then Liska Day Babbitt in my chat decides that going through this entire Eric Hovind novella is the perfect time to make me fucking say, yeah, find your record button, asshole.
Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa.
There we go. That was a good one.
There.
That was a good one.
You got
Piper,
it.
Piper, give me the MP3.
You got it.
Oh, whoa.
Life's better when there's less of this.
I mean, I could go back to this.
Bro is wrong for that one.
I
Why
feel like
is-
you agree.
Don't
Why
talk
is
to
he
me until
perfect?
I've had my morning coffee.
Come on, 700 phrases and we got that one twice in one stream. God damn it. You're getting
Yep.
lazy, Reactbot. So polystrate fossils, fossils of trees and other organisms. No, not other organisms, just trees that extend vertically through multiple layers of sediment, suggesting rapid burial. No, they extend through multiple layers of rapidly forming things like volcanic ash layers or flood layers, like not catastrophic flood, more like how the Nile floods regularly. Things that exist in floodplains that get flooded on the regular, and it's trees that are known to be able to stand for centuries after they die. Of course, they go through multiple layers when they're existing in an environment where layers can form in less than multiple centuries. So, yeah, no, it's only ever trees. Like you say, and other organisms. Name one of the other organisms. Are you going to go
No.
for the whale that they found on the mountain in California that isn't actually a polystrate fossil and is just erroneously claimed to be by creationists?
We're not going to name them, Rhino. That
No,
would
why
be
would
that
they
would
name?
undermine our argument.
My favorite was with the whale thing. Matt Powell once he took screenshots from the Talk Origins site that completely debunks it. But like he took his screenshots from the beginning where they give like what the creationist argument is, and he acted as though that was like the article. It's like, dude, if you scroll down a little tiny bit, you will see why you are completely wrong. Why would you do that?
You don't understand.
He's Matt
I
Powell.
need
No,
to
I understand.
say-
He's Matt Powell. He's an idiot.
I need to say wrong things all the time. Otherwise, I don't get paid money in dollary dues.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And then flood legends worldwide. Cultures around the globe share ancient stories of a catastrophic flood. Why are so many civilizations preserving a similar event in their histories?
Is it because several civilizations were built next to water because that was the only way civilizations would survive? And a common event that happens whenever you have a civilization built next to a bit of water is a fucking flood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is that possibly why?
that might be it. My favorite bit about this is the fact that the flood story in the Bible is very clearly based on the earlier Babylonian flood story from the Epic of Gilgamesh. So, like, if you're going with that as one of your arguments for why the biblical flood is real, then like, no, it's actually the Epic of Gilgamesh that has the real flood because the biblical flood is based on that one.
Like
It's an earlier legend.
all
Like, not even
stupidity.
Answers in Genesis denies that that's an earlier legend.
It's all stupidity. All of it. Every ounce of everything going on right now. All dumb.
So yeah, that's the gist of his post. Then this person replies with, "There is one geographic layer that appears all over the world. The type of sediment coupled with its depth and thickness make it proof of a worldwide simultaneous flood event, exactly as the Holy Bible says. The layer is named after the geologist that discovered it." I have no fucking clue what they're talking about.
No. I
I
don't
mean,
either.
I can guess that they maybe heard about the layer of iridium at the KT boundary. The so like the one that was deposited by the comet that killed the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. There's like one global layer of iridium that makes that layer really easy to find, but it's definitely not something that is proof of a worldwide simultaneous flood event. It's proof that a big rock hit the Earth at that time.
Most of these things
Um,
can just be evidence that a flood happened
well, I mean
uh,
that one's
of
not even
a
evidence of
variety.
a flood, and it's not named after the geologist that discovered it. It's the KT boundary, and I might have the name wrong because they changed the name at some point because they reclassified a bunch of strata. But so like that's the only thing I could think he was talking about because that's the closest thing we have to a single global layer, and that's the thing is that if the geologic column did come from the flood of Noah, it would not be the several distinct layers that we have now. It would be one single uh, conglomerate layer that is sorted mostly from coarse at the bottom to fine at the top. Mostly. There would be some intermingling depending on what, but it would be one single layer with that general sorting scene. Because that's not what it is, we know that a global flood didn't make it. But what's great about this is that somebody argued with him. It was like, "Oh yeah, really? There's one single layer that actually proves this is named after a geologist. Okay, what is the layer? Can you tell me what that layer is?" And this person responded with a link to some creationist article that did not talk about that layer. And when he got called out for that, he responded with, "I saw it on the Discovery Channel. They showed the layer in various places around the world. It looked the same all over. They said the name of the geologist. That was years ago. I don't remember his name, but I know that I saw it, and I know that I'm not a liar. So if you are intent on proving me wrong, then you do the research work."
No, no. All right, I'm
That's
gonna
not
make
how
a
that's not how
I'm gonna
any
make a
of this works.
I'm gonna make a fun complaint, and this is a complaint that is going to matter to a small subset of my audience, but not everybody. So, for those who've been watching my streams, I have been playing a lot of World of Warcraft Season of Discovery on stream, and I've been doing a decent bit of it with viewers as well. People who've been hopping into the guild, I've been helping level up, fun stuff. So, the reason that I have a guild at all right now is because I left my old guild. And the incident that caused me to leave my old guild was this exact type of thing. What happened was, as far as I was concerned, World of Warcraft Season of Discovery was a temporary server because that's what a seasonal server means in the context of every other game that's ever existed with seasonal modes. It exists temporarily, the content is accelerated, and then eventually it will turn off. You are there for a small bit of time for fun, and then it will go away. That's how seasons work in games that have seasons. But apparently, according to my old guild master, Wizards of the or not Wizards, Blizzard had no want to turn off the Season of Discovery servers, and they planned on releasing content in it in perpetuity. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. That's not what they said, as far as I remember. Do you have an article or anything I could read to show me what they said recently? Because as far as I knew, as far as I've ever known, this seasonal server is going to do the same thing the last seasonal server did, where it shut off, because that's what a seasonal server does." Guildmaster then goes on a tirade and uses every single thing in the book. It's not my job to do your own research for you. I am not your personal Google assistant. Are you calling me a liar? I'm not a fucking liar. Like, went through every single one of those things you'd expect on a goddamn Twitter tirade. And the only thing I could think of is, wait a minute, you're supposed to lead 40 individual adults through content in this game, people who are going to have different religious backgrounds, people who are going to have different ethnic backgrounds, people who are going to have different cultural backgrounds. And these people aren't always going to get along because the only thing some of us share is playing the same video game. So I'm going to have to expect you to be able to resolve arguments between 40 different individual, unique, possibly volatile adults when this is the way you respond to, can I have a source, please? Fuck that. I'm leaving.
Pathetic. You can do better.
Indeed. Yeah, no, it's just I just don't understand the level of like just the sheer audacity that it takes to be like, hey, I heard this thing once that I only vaguely half remember. And if you don't believe that I'm right about it, you can do your own research. Otherwise, I'm just right by default. No, that's not how this works.
That's not how any of this works.
That's not
And
how
if it's
any of
something
this works.
it's something so simple as well. You literally, if you can't Google it, if you can't figure out how to Google it, you could just ask Chat GPT at this point
Oh,
to
God.
help you find the thing.
No,
And that's not a good
no.
idea.
No, okay, you missed it yesterday, but we had Google AI. There's a screenshot that I found. Do you know who Austin Wintory is?
No, I don't.
So he's a friend of the channel. He's the guy that composed the video game. He composed the music for the video game Journey.
Okay.
And I don't know what the question was because you couldn't see the whole thing in the screenshot. It was truncated. But he asked Google something about the song Don't Stop Believing. And Google's response to him, the composer for the video game Journey, was that Don't Stop Believing was a song that was made for the 2012 video game Journey. And he's just sitting there like,
Nope.
as the guy who made all the music for it, being like, well, that's not right.
Yep. No, you're
so
right.
Yeah, no, don't ask ChatGPT or any of these AIs for shit because they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Though it does lead me to one more thing about the guild leader incident. On that note, so one of the other people in the guild was using a server called Brave, which apparently is functionally used for cryptocurrency mining and shit. It's something that only an idiotic crypto bro uses, and it has an AI large language model built in for searches. And he searched about the Season of Discovery stuff on Brave and said, yeah, the AI on Brave says that they're not getting rid of it. So I found it really quickly. And I didn't want to be the person that just went back and said, are you really stupid enough to trust an AI bot, whether or not it is correct in this exact instance? That's a stupid thing to do.
That's a whole fucking genre of YouTube now. Is just like idiots finding like they just asking AI questions until the AI agrees with them, and then being like, "See, I'm right. The AI said so." Like that's a whole genre of YouTube nowadays. Like I like Cameron Bertuzzi, topless lawnmower guy. He had a video where like when Amin Khalif was winning in the Olympics, he did a video where he asked ChatGPT if Amin Khalif, like, he asked ChatGPT about her chromosomes. And of course, ChatGPT just made shit up because it's Chat fucking GPT.
Yeah, how's it gonna know anything? It's a large language model. It can only grab from shit that's been on the internet. And if you're using ChatGPT, it can only scrape from things that have been on the internet within a certain amount of time. It doesn't do real-time scraping. It caches its scraping.
Yeah, kind of like ReactBot here.
Hashtag not all men.
Sure, why not? Yeah, no, like he's got, if I don't update him, he's only got his 700 or so responses. And ChatGPT, same thing. If it's not like when ChatGPT was first available, it did not know who I was.
Yep.
It does now. It's not very good at describing who I am, but it at least recognizes who I am.
I mean, let's be honest. Who really could describe who you are at this point?
Yeah, good point.
If the amount of times for me when somebody sees like my playmat and sees my character on it, and the first question is, "Oh, who's that? I don't recognize them." Oh, great! I have to do this again. I have to go into all of this. Fun. Scott says, GPT told me I should use hot glue to put pepperoni on my pizza. It will make pepperoni stick to pizza. You're right. It's true.
So, I said ChatGPT describe who Vice Rhino is as a person. It says Vice Rhino is a persona associated with a YouTuber and content creator who is known for his commentary on topics related to atheism, skepticism, and critical thinking. His content often revolves around responding to religious arguments, pseudoscience, and logical fallacies, aiming to promote rational thinking and evidence-based reasoning. Vice Rhino engages in debates and discussions, sometimes responding to controversial or popular videos, offering critiques or counter-arguments. He tends to maintain a calm and analytical demeanor. ChatGPT hasn't seen the video where I put on the Leatherface mask and like rush the camera with a knife, kind of like, don't call the cops, and then like have blood spatter all over my shirt for the rest of the video. So that's my calm and analytical demeanor, offering reasoned responses to often emotional or irrational points of view. His videos typically focus on providing logical and empirical rebuttals, though his tone remains respectful and thoughtful, avoiding aggressive confrontation. It also hasn't seen any
Not
of
on
the
this
videos
show.
on Matt Powell's videos. He's part of the broader community of online creators who promote secularism, atheism, and skepticism, often engaging in education. Okay, this is just like,
Now it's just glazing you.
it's just a fucking generic. It's generic. That it couldn't be more generic. Like, no, that's just describing an atheist YouTuber. That is not specific to anything in particular. Anyway, next tweet. Hey Sorbs says no masks, no lockdowns, no forced shots. Who's with me? Like idiots. That's who.
I mean, they'll cheer that they're with you for now, but then they won't last in the gene pool.
Yeah, I mean, in the response to this was someone who posted a meme that was like, "I didn't get the COVID shot and I'm still here. Suck it." I'm like, okay, Herman Cain's
And?
not still here.
Like, do you want to? Like, there's a reason we have the joke, the Herman Cain Award.
Yeah,
There's a
Jasta
reason
says,
that joke exists.
Jasta says, "Show me one example of forced shots." Well, they'll say like, if having a vaccine was a requirement for a job, that is forced.
Okay.
Like
You
that
know
is
what
what
else
they
was
call forced. That's not forced. Like, you know what else is requirements for
you
jobs?
could get a different job.
Qualifications. Like, hey,
Yeah, they got mad about those too, though. Remember?
like my partner is in the process of getting her master's degree so she can be a therapist. Like, oh, they're forcing her to get her master's degree just to be a therapist. Can you believe that? It's like, no, that's a qualification of the job. If you want to be a therapist, you need to do the thing. Like, hey, you want a job working in healthcare? You have to be immunized against common diseases. Because we don't want you spreading those diseases through the hospital. Like, yeah. Axolotl says, the only purpose I've ever gotten out of the GPT robots is to task them to check over what I've written for tone and grammar. I wouldn't even trust them for that, honestly. The only thing I have ever used ChatGPT for is for writing auto hotkey scripts, and it's not very good at it. Like, generally, it can kind of get me there. Like, I'm not, like, I went to school for programming, but that was a long time ago, and I did not keep up with all the developments in the field, and I haven't practiced at it for years, so, like, I can kind of figure out what code is supposed to do if I'm looking at it, but, like, I don't know any of the languages anymore. Like, I don't have practice with it, and I could get good at it again if I put the effort into it, but that's not where I want to spend my effort right now. So, like, I've had ChatGPT write automation scripts for me, and they do require quite a bit of debugging usually. And Pirate Software put out a video about this not too long ago where he's like, oh yeah, no, coders I talk to, like, they will like spend, like, before ChatGPT, they'd spend 1 hour writing their code and like 45 minutes debugging that code. Now they'd use ChatGPT and they spend 1 minute writing the code and then 3 hours debugging it. And they're saying that's a good thing. It's like, okay, I see where you're coming from. But as a guy who just needed a hotkey to do a certain thing, like, okay, I'll have it write that code for me, and if I have to spend a few minutes debugging it, like, it's debatable
Also,
whether I could have done it quicker on my own. But
if you've got somebody who is not very good with programming to begin with, it's a skill that they're in the middle of developing. Learning how to make broken code work is a teaching tool. It is
yeah.
a thing that can help, because I've taken C++, I've taken SQL, and I've taken JavaScript and Java, and I've taken HTML. Those are the languages that I ostensibly learned. Realistically, the only one of them that I remember anything from was HTML, and enough of the C++ to apply to JavaScript. But again,
I learned C# in college.
You know, after learning C++, I wish I had either learned C# or Python.
Well, C# is
Because
basically like Microsoft's version of Java.
so when I when I was learning how to do all of that, what I found was that I could take existing code and figure out if something was wrong with it,
Mhm.
if a dash was where it was not supposed to be, if the logic didn't work out right, if the if else statement needed to be a string instead. That was stuff I could figure out kind of okay
So
for a while, but like making the code myself, I god awful at it.
Yeah.
God awful at
yeah,
it.
Clueless Expert brings up a good point. It's even worse when the code appears to work in the cases you've tested, but it's fucked up in cases you haven't tested. So yeah, when I'm doing automation things, it's always for a very specific use case, and it's something that like nobody has ever done as a generic thing to do. So it works for me. But like, yeah, no, I like my editor, Piper. I don't know if you're still watching, Piper, but I have toyed with the idea of like, hey, these are like codes that I like automation scripts that I have run that made my job super duper easy compared to what it was without them. Maybe I should share these with Piper. But then I'm like, no, they are so fucking specific that like there's no like it'd be a whole training session just on how to set them up. And then if anything goes wrong, they're going to be coming to me for it. And it's like, no, they can do it on their own. So yeah, no, I use ChatGPT to make scripts for me specifically, and that's it. And I would not trust it to do anything more than that. That's literally its only use in my mind.
Yeah, it's for a thing for you. I've debated on using it to make macros for World of Warcraft.
Anyway,
but
how do we even get here from Sorbo's tweet?
well, you see, there's not enough substance to anything Sorbo says, so we have to actually add fluff into it
Okay.
to make anything work.
Okay, that's fair.
That's how we got here.
All right. Lila Rose says sexual compatibility is a myth. Great sex is achieved through mutual love, commitment, emotional intimacy, and practice. Sex is designed for marriage, not an angst-inducing superficial hookup.
All right, so it's both. You can have people who are fully sexually incompatible when they start dating, who slowly drift to a more compatible area as they learn each other's idiosyncrasies. But at the same time, there are some people who are fully incompatible. Like, say, one person is ace and cannot perform, and the other person is incredibly hypersexual. If you're in that situation, you may be fully sexually incompatible. Or let's say that you think you're straight because you've never had any experiences otherwise and there's societal expectations on you, and then you get into a relationship and you find out that you're repulsed by it, and as you start living with
until
that
you got
person,
there, I was like, "Yep, been there, done that." I've that's most of my life. And you're like, "No, I'm still happy in my relationship."
yeah, then after a while you start realizing, oh, hold on, maybe I'm not actually straight, maybe I've just been expected to be straight and I'm actually gay. Or even vice versa. That can happen as well. I have a friend who thought for the longest time she was gay and is slowly been starting to feel like maybe she's not. Maybe she's actually straight, has been going through the opposite of what most people go through, and it's actively causing issues in her relationship. I have a friend of mine who went through a divorce recently because his wife found out 8 years into their relationship she's lesbian.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like,
even that aside, just like thinking in vanilla straight couple sense, it's not a black or white issue. Like, there are ways in which my partner and I are not just by our own default inclinations sexually compatible. We have had to work around some of these issues. But like, it's not an incompatibility that cannot be overcome. But there are incompatibilities that cannot be overcome. So like, to say this as though it's black or white, like, no, everybody can be sexually compatible. They just need to try. It's like, no, that's not the way it
everybody
works.
can be.
It's not the way it works.
Like, there's plenty of situations where somebody can't, and that's okay. It should be more acceptable.
And sexual compatibility is important enough that, yes, it is okay to end a relationship over sexual incompatibility.
Yeah, it is perfectly reasonable to accept that there is just some things that are insurmountable in your relationship. Another thing that you may run into, like, you may find out that you like in order to be happy in a relationship, you need something to be very, very open. And you have a partner who is not comfortable with that, and it actively causes them mental harm to try to be in a relationship with somebody who's doing that. That is a full-on incompatibility. That's not a thing that's going to be overcome. That's a thing where a thing that you need to be happy is directly incongruent with something the other partner needs to be happy. And
So-
as opposed to saying we should be in the world where one of these is catered to all the time, we should live in a world where it's okay for both to be catered to.
So I think the misconception here is that like people like Lila Rose here, they don't think of sexual compatibility as things like attraction or sexuality or kinks or anything like that. They think of it in terms of like, oh,
Does the
I
penis
like-
fit in the vagina?
no, not even that. You can get more detailed than that. They think like, I like doggy style, but he likes missionary. So we're not sexually compatible. Like, no, you can do both. You could like sometimes do doggy, sometimes do missionary, sometimes do both in one session. Oh my God. So like, I think that's what they think sexual compatibility is. And like, yeah, that is the kind of sexual incompatibility that you can work through. Like my favorite position is not my partner's favorite position. So you know what? We do multiple positions and then everybody's happy. So like, that is, I think, what they are thinking, but like, no, that's not the way it all is. Like, that's not the way it is all the time.
No.
But yeah, no, I am fortunate in that our sexual incompatibility, like there are things that we are not perfectly compatible with, but like they're not deal breakers, and they are things that we can work. Like we're both kind of subs. So like occasionally we have to both kind of become switches to make that work.
You literally just made a whole point about how you're not a bottom.
Yeah, no, bottom and sub are different, Cirrus. Come on. If there can be 500 different flavors of ace, there can be a difference between a bottom and a sub.
You know, you're entirely right, but there's a word for somebody who is a bottom and not a sub.
I'm sure there is.
Because that's a power bottom.
Oh, yep. Okay, yep, there you go. I know that one, actually. That was actually... did I ever
Dark
tell
Excalibur says sounds like an excuse a bottom would make.
Did I ever
Yeah, that
tell
does
you?
sound...
Did I ever tell you how I learned that my oldest child did not know what a power bottom was?
When y'all were watching Has Been Hotel and she sung it at the top of her lungs?
Yeah, so it was not watching it, but like we were listening to the soundtrack as we were driving, and I could tell like when it got to the sex things, they would like lower their voice and be like, "No, I'm not going to sing that." But then when it got to power bottom at rock bottom, they just belted it out and was like, "Oh, you don't know what that means, do you?" Like, no, like
You're a power
Okay.
bottom at rock bottom. That's not fine by me.
I mean, I'm okay not singing that part of the duet with my child.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It was still funny though. Oh, and that's it. That's it. We're done
This
the
is the
stream.
sound that says we're over.
We are done the stream. So ReactBot, send us off.
I don't know what those big words mean.
Fair enough. ReactBot doesn't know what a power bottom is either.
Yeah, they are big words. They're hard to understand. Don't worry, we'll understand them together
All right.
violently.
Cirrus, are you still streaming after this?
You know, I don't think I'm going to be streaming after this. I think I'm
Okay.
going to pick up my stream tomorrow.
I will raid Jake then. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. And as always, fuck off.